Good evening. Welcome to my train room. My name is Peter and I will be your host for this evening. I put this video together for the benefit of new operators, just so that you can get a bit of a handle on the controls for this layout before actually showing up. The railroad is point to point. We start off in staging. I've called this area West Yard because it's at the west end of the railroad. We then pass through an intermediate town. I've called this town Centerville because it's in the middle. We continue around the outside of the room and we eventually arrive at the harbour town, the harbour terminus of Eastleigh. Hopefully the names will give you a head start in figuring out which way is east and which way is west. The railroad is operated with Digitrax DCC. There are 6 LocoNet plug-in points. 1 in staging, 1 at each end of Centerville, 1 at the main control panel at Eastleigh, 1 at the end of the Harbour Peninsula, and 1 over here behind the door for the convenience of operators running into this corner. For the most part, switches are operated from slide switches mounted in holes in the fascia. In some cases it wasn't necessary to get them exactly opposite, such as this one over here, but they are all strictly in the same order that they appear on the layout. So for example, here we have 4 switches in a row. If we look on here, we have 4 pairs of point blades in a row. These 4 here operate the same order. So the left one is the left one, the right is the right, and the 2 in the middle, these 2 here. Also at every town you will see there are more or less to scale track diagrams labelling all the tracks and industries and telling you where everything is. There's one for every town. Well, actually for Eastleigh there are 2, because there's the main control panel here and a subsidiary control panel behind the door. At the harbour town of Eastleigh I built this control panel because the fascia had nowhere near enough space for all the controls. This is partially because being at the lowest elevation the fascia is at its minimum and I couldn't drop it because I have my work area beneath it. Also it is the highest concentration of turnouts on the layout. All the high level turnouts on the main line and in the passenger terminal are operated from the panel. All the turnouts in the harbour area are still using the slide switches in the fascia. Also at Eastleigh you will find 3 extra slide switches in the fascia that don't operate turnouts. These are for what I refer to as my parking brakes. If you pull this switch and look closely, you'll see that a rod has come up between the rails. That is just tall enough to catch an axle, allowing you to park a train on the hill and detach the locomotive without it rolling away. There are 3 of them. One on the 4% harbour incline, another on the lower switchback, and one on the Y. The grade here is only about 2%, but still cars will roll away. This one allows you to switch from either end and park trains where they would otherwise roll. That one is different in that it has dual controls. I can operate it from here by the car float or under the end of the road bridge. Okay, I've just turned the layout controls on and now you can see that there are some LEDs lit up on the panel. The green LEDs show the routing through the turnouts that are not easily seen from this location. If we go over here, we can see a mass of turnouts. There are 8 of them on the main line that you might need to know where they are set standing at the main control panel. So we have pairs of green LEDs showing which way they are set up. Some of these turnouts have dual controls. there is a secondary panel behind the door. Other turnouts here don't have controls here because they are used only when you're switching local industries from the other side of the peninsula. But we still need to have visual confirmation that the operator put them back where they should be. All the turnout controls have toggle switches placed perpendicular to the direction of the track. In most cases that is a vertical throw, but the first turnout here and the one at the end of the Y, they are turned almost horizontal. There are other switches here that don't control turnouts. These operate uncoupling magnets in the passenger terminal, because it would be just about impossible to uncouple passenger cars when you have to reach into buildings and over other trains. I actually did a whole video on how I accomplished this, if you're interested. Flip a switch to the left, you see the LED comes on telling us that the magnet is raised and will uncouple the cars. Throw it to the right and it goes down. If we look at the other panel, you'll see there is now a red light on that panel as well. That's because all 8 of the magnets have dual indicating LEDs. Even those that are not operable from either end. Only those that you would use at this end of the town have switches on this panel, and only those that you would use from the other end have switches on the other end. See, there are 3 LEDs here that don't have switches. That's because those are operated from the subsidiary panel over here. The 2 in the middle actually have dual controls. You can operate them from either end. When you sign up to operate a train, you will be given a sheet of instructions looking something like this. This one is for the Port Eastleigh through freight, which runs fairly late in the session. Starts off with the locomotive number, the decoder channel, the car count, and what track you'll find it on. There are special instructions that apply to this train. We have details of the manifest showing all the cars in the order they appear in the train and where to deliver each car. Then it has a section for all the pickups in approximately the order that you'll need to pick them up and where you will find them. In this case there's also a section for other work which isn't always there. In this case we have to transfer 1 car from the warehouse to the float yard, and we have 2 more that are off spot and have to be delivered properly. So anyway, that's about it for the operating instructions. Well, that's about it. If you are signed up for the NMRA meet next month, or if you are just joining my operating crew and you need some help, I hope I've answered any questions you have. I hope this has given you a head start and the ability to feel more at home when you arrive. If you do have any more questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll do my best to answer them in a timely manner. Thank you for following along, and have a great evening. Bye.